wide open for 4 touchdown catches. And so the door to first place in the West opened wide for John Gregory's Saskatchewan Roughriders.
The BC Lions did us a favor, and now we need to do something about it ourselves. These are 2 professional football teams that are playing. They have professional types of attitudes, and they're not going to go out and just lay down. And usually what happens is people that are playing the top dogs play very, very hard, so that concerns me. Well, I think we have to go out and play our own game and create our own situation.
Of the season for the Calgary Stampeders, and we have been kissed by the angel of weather today. It is absolutely gorgeous at McMahon Stadium, and hopefully it can stay that way through 4 quarters of football. Kicking off, rookie Mark McLaughlin, the outstanding rookie in a Stampeder uniform this season. John Gregory knows that first place is almost his. If you think almost is beating Calgary and Ottawa, and most people do.
I think what has to be in the minds of the Riders is if they can get some points on the board early, that the Stampeders might fold. Larry Kahar says he believes his team is optimistic and will play a full game and not close down if they get behind.
McLaughlin kicking off with the wind. Tim McRae with a reverse. Ray McDonald has the football and a lot of room. He will get to midfield and be forced out there by the kicker.
Start with a bang. I guess it's one thing that will keep the other teams, especially the team that may play the Riders in the playoffs, something to think about the next time the Riders have to return a kick. Nice job of getting the Stampeders all going to one side of the field and reversing to the wide side. Well set up.
Calgary's the team that might be expected to pull stuff like this. The Stampeders out of the playoffs. Saskatchewan showing that it's capable, too, of reaching into a bag of tricks. Tim McRae for close to 5 yards on the first offensive play of the game.
Tim McRae, the ball carrier for Saskatchewan, will pick up the 4 yards.
This shows you that there is wind. The shadows indicate that the sun is shining brightly, and that's the temperature, 13 degrees, and we do stress that is 13 above 0.
The shock to most people, I think the players from Saskatchewan were expecting the worst, brought all the footwear that was necessary, but fortunately, as you said, looks like a good one. Run twice and get a first down as Milson Jones gets into the act quickly. Talking with John Gregory before the game, he realized that maybe the best part of the Stampeders this year and the most consistent part has been their defense. Trying to keep the pressure and keeping the Calgary defense on their heels. We've seen some mix-up so far. That draw to Milson Jones, sprinting out, lots of variety.
Stampeders have given up a lot of yards along the ground this season, 141.2 per game, which is almost as bad as the worst team in the league, the Ottawa Roughriders. Greg Landry is being forcibly restrained by teammate as he is asked to leave the game temporarily.
Occasionally a defensive player, to try to get any advantage he can, will sometimes put Vaseline on the shoulders so the offensive lineman or a blocker can't come out and make solid contact. I believe that's the problem. He was sent to the sidelines to get it changed.
Though the change in sweater may be more exciting than this next play. We're going to cover the game. Burgess. The first pass of the game is completed. Over at the 35-yard line is the receiver, Don Narcisse. Now let's get back to the apparel department.
A quick wash job by Doug Landry. If it's not Vaseline, it could be a silicone spray. That's usually a little bit tougher to detect. Obviously not tough enough. Offensive line of the Riders thought something was very strange.
The gain of the pass to Narcisse goes to the 34. On second down, good gain up the middle. Timmy McRae underway. And McRae is inside the 15-yard line, and Saskatchewan comes out running with a little pass here and there. It looks like a well-designed first series by the Riders.
As I said earlier, they're mixing their plays up, doing a good job going to both sides. That sprint draw situation where it looks like Burgess can go outside. They pull the guard from the right side, Brian Illebroom. He traps, and McRae gets through there very quickly and explodes upfield. And John Gregory was concerned about one thing going into this game, and that was the intensity level. As Doug Landry's back in with a wash shirt.
It was, we are told, Vaseline on his sweater that has now been removed. Burgess wide open, Fairholm, he's got it, touchdown. The Riders make it look easy.
Fairholm able to get up in that seam. The Riders had great success with this play the last time the Stampeders met them at Taylor Field. Once again, Jeff Fairholm untouched, uncovered. Good job of catching the ball and sliding those feet inbounds. Must have been a mix-up in the secondary.
That'll help his Schenley candidacy. He has already been selected the outstanding rookie for Saskatchewan. Many think he will be selected as the top rookie in the CFL West. And will probably go up against Orville Lee of Ottawa on the final ballot. And there's still time for Fairholm to chip away at a margin that I think most people concede right now to Orville Lee, but it is a very close race between these two fine rookies.
Fairholm had a great start. Orville Lee has been very consistent, breaking the 1,000-yard mark and rushing. As you said, they both had outstanding seasons. Orville Lee carrying the Ottawa Roughriders on the ground primarily. Fairholm having to share an awful lot of the load to his teammate Ray Elgard, who's had also an outstanding year at that slot back spot, as Bruno Jeremiah is receiving some attention.
Jeremiah getting a start today. The Calgary secondary affected by injuries to David McCrary and Ron Hopkins. And it figured that the Saskatchewan game plan would focus on the replacements, Jeremiah and cornerback Larry Hogue.
Looking at Fairholm, that Schenley nomination is nothing new to the family. His dad, Larry, was a 3-time Schenley nominee for Outstanding Canadian in 1967, 8, and 9. So young Jeff Fairholm is keeping the tradition going.
Meanwhile, the Saskatchewan Roughriders have exactly what John Gregory wanted, a quick start to this game. Saskatchewan needing to get rolling early to destroy any enthusiasm that might be in the Calgary ranks, and also to build the confidence of an already confident Saskatchewan team. Ridgway 5 points away from 200, and it doesn't look as though he'll get one on this one. The Stampeders can gain a point, and they can take it all the way. Now start flipping it around, boys. This major didn't do that, but it could have been a point at the other end for Calgary. However, it is a missed convert by Dave Ridgway. Now that's already a surprising item in this game, as Saskatchewan leads it by a score of 6-0. Well, everything worked for Saskatchewan the first time it got the ball, except the convert. Tom Burgess had nothing to do with that. Glenn Suter, who is injured and not playing his normal defensive backfield spot, is, however, holding on converts. Not too well that time.
A concern at the end of this play. Ridgway comes up limping a bit. Getting some attention at the sidelines.
Stampeders return the kickoff close to the 50-yard line as flags fly away from the ball, and this is the second or third already instance of temper being shown in this game.
Once again, Doug Landry's in the middle of it. First time it was the sweater, now it's a pushing incident.
Unnecessary roughness, 39 Calgary. First down, Saskatchewan.
And that missed convert, Dave Ridgway got dinged in the head, and they're giving him the normal questions. How old are you? What city are you in? What's your number? With Jeremiah out, there may be some concerns of who and what places are going to be taken in the secondary for the Stampeders the next time they're on defense.
Meanwhile, the Stampeders go on offense for the first time, and Eric Kramer, of whom Larry Kuhart expects big things today or another time, but Kuhart certainly hopes today. Reverse, and Emmanuel Tolbert has got the ball. The Riders did it on the kickoff return, and the Stampeders do it from the scrimmage.
Calgary wanting to start with a bang, throwing something at the Rider defense, maybe to keep them back on their heels to start the football game off. Tolbert from that slot back spot. The fake by Kramer up inside, and as you saw, just a simple toss. He's working hard to get to the outside. Rasevich in pursuit. And Fuller coming across, actually a pretty good job of defending that play by the Riders.
Saskatchewan expects anything and everything today from the Calgary Stampeders. Here's Eric Kramer's first pass, hanging up there. Colbert back to the ball. He did a great job of positioning himself against the defender and going back to catch it.
Really a situation that it turns into a jump ball. Eric Kramer's going to throw this ball, but it won't be easy. He's going to have somebody in his face. Just as the ball's released, it sits up there a bit, and he knows it's a guessing game as it starts to come down. But the great job by Tolbert by just readjusting himself, playing Hall right to the point, then making that slide underneath. Richie Hall in good coverage to that point.
The good men, our isolation cameras would get a lot by sticking with Emmanuel Tolbert in every play. It's been the case so far on 2 plays as Sean Faulkner runs and is down at the 10-yard line. He is known as a gambling coach. We asked him if he'd gamble more than normal today. He said no, he'd just like to be in a position where he could gamble normally, and that would mean a lot of gambles, I think, is what he suggested.
Yes, just to get back to normal. That's what Larry Kaharich is looking for and striving for.
Line of scrimmage, the 11-yard line, as the Stampeders try to answer quickly the very early touchdown by Jeff Fairholm of Saskatchewan. Kramer looking back, and he'll go down. A big sack by Bobby Jurison, who was congratulated by Gary Lewis.
Seeing Jurison before the game walking around the field, very intense. This is nothing new for Jurison to get close to the quarterback. See him just to the top of the screen, gets off the block and comes in. That's a situation that Kramer was quite familiar with the last time these two teams got together.
Somewhat surprisingly, Bobby Jurison not selected as the outstanding defensive player in green and white this season. Richie Hall was that nominee. Things go right for Calgary, just barely. Mark McLaughlin hit the upright, but the ball bounced between them, and it is 3 points for Calgary. So a tough day for the kickers already.
Maybe that's a sign of good things to come for head coach Larry Kaharich. In the past, that ball would have popped right back out at them. This time, the right English on the ball by Mark McLaughlin just allowed it to scrape to the inside.
Now, with the injury to Bruno Jeremiah, we should talk about what might happen in that Calgary secondary.
Number of different combinations. They could move Greg Peterson, number 24, from his safety spot over to the halfback, move Darcy Kopp into safety. They've played that way before.
Hey, Joe, you need behind?
Gray, a little trouble getting underway, but he still makes it for 5 yards to the 40.
McCray, the ball carrier. Gain of about 5 out to the Saskatchewan 40.
McCray and Jones with Denny Ferdinand also available as the Saskatchewan running back. The wide receivers are set. Ray Elgard, the outstanding player for the Saskatchewan Roughriders this season, on the offensive line. We have long indicated it as a strength of the Riders. On 2nd and 5, Burgess gets lots of time, finds a short receiver, and it's a nice way to make the first down to McCray, who is running and catching the ball. Always important when the Riders have it.
This situation, the Riders pull people to the left. Milson Jones goes up to the line of scrimmage and releases to the flat. They're trying to get the linebackers to forget about the backs. See Landry turn his back to the play. McCray just simply slides out on a bit of a delay in the open area.
Around the ball again. Quincy Williams among those in the tackle. Let's look at that Stampeder defense, which has Stu Laird up front, Quincy Williams at the other end. 3 linebackers. They get a lot of respect from all of the teams that they play. Landry, Jeffers, and Kenny Ford, and that's the way they started in the defensive secondary. Darcy Kopp, as Neil indicated, also available, plus a fellow named Jeff Yazzie. And I guess if he entered the game, we'd be playing by Yazzie rules football. Burgess. No, not a catch. Good try by Ray McDonald, but the official was right there to indicate incomplete.
Make it third down.
Potentially successful play. The ball just underthrown, as you saw. McDonald working to the back side of the play. I think we might see Burgess and the Riders do a bit of that. Sean Faulkner gets back, the only man deep for the Stampeders to return this punt.
We're midway through the opening quarter. Saskatchewan trying to set its sights on first place in the CFL West. Needs a win today to make that a strong possibility. And the Riders are leading 6-3. Line drive by Baker gets to Faulkner very quickly. He is taken down just as fast. A good play by Dan Rasevich. Yes, the Riders are number one right now in the CFL West. Foster's Lager and the Canadian Football Network are bringing you the best of the CFL. Elvis lives. You know, you won't believe this, but on the way over to the stadium, I stopped for a hamburger. McCray with the ball past the 50-yard line.
Tim McCray hit by Gene Bellabo. 3-yard pickup, make it 2nd and 7 after 51.
(7-3) is the score for Saskatchewan over Calgary. We're early in the second quarter. Little dump pass, Milson Jones. To the 46-yard line, first down, Saskatchewan.
Nicely set up by the offensive line. Make good contact with the Stampeders and then let them go by. Mike Anderson downfield, the key block on Landry. Drops him down, lets Milson Jones get back up right down the hash marks.
Barking out the signals. He is on the run, and he'll continue that way. Good solid hit by Ken Ford. Make sure it's not much of a gain by the Saskatchewan quarterback.
Boy, shows you Ford's quickness, his ability to close. He has to stay in coverage, or at least in the zone he's dropping to, but identifying when Burgess does cross the line of scrimmage. But boy, he comes in and just cracks him. The other good shot around the play is Landry on Aldag. Kind of sneaking up a little sneaky there. You can bet they'll meet again, though.
Well, Aldag has to get his number because there's no name on that sweater. 2nd and 7, Burgess throws it and a little too high for the intended receiver, Jeff Fairholm, the maker of the only touchdown so far in this game.
You almost see the ball carried just a little bit too much. Maybe it was because of the wind.
Incomplete.
Hung in the air and didn't come back down.
Catch all the fun and action for the Safeway Family Pack section located in sections W and X. Specially priced tickets make the Safeway Family Pack section the ideal family outing. Tickets are available.
Roger Aldag getting that helmet looked at. Really been a credit to the CFL, not only in his ability, but in his representation.
Well, there you see the 50 field goals that Dave Ridgway has made, and perhaps more amazing than that, the 59 that he has attempted, which means he's missed only 9 of them. And if Ridgway makes this one, he is within 1 of tying the CFL single-season record. He'll have to make a 50-yarder, but the wind is back blowing in his favor. With the help of the wind, a 50-yard attempt by Dave Ridgway, and it's good. 51 field goals for the Saskatchewan kicker. This game is brought to you by Foster's Lager on the Canadian Football Network. It came from 50 yards out. It was Dave Ridgway's 51st field goal of the season. 52 is the record, and Ridgway just might get his 53rd today. 2 more, and the record is all his. Eclipsing the mark of Louis Passaglia. Kramer way too high at the sidelines. Tolbert attempting what he can do to stay in bounds and make the catch, but it became impossible.
You know, Dave Ridgway can't do any of this alone. He's been successful all year. The first handshake comes from Glenn Suter. who puts and pins it for him, and the next headbutt comes from the man who gets the ball to Suter, Bob Poley. A combined effort. He needs that to be successful, and he knows it.
Stampeders still looking to establish something on offense. Have a blitz coming at them this time. Kramer cannot get away from it. 3 Riders descend, chop that sack up into a third for one and a third for the other, and also for him.
Rick Klassen gets involved, having some fun. Usually you see from the backside, at least with the Riders, it's a halfback or a safety. Not this time. Goldsmith, Lewis, and Rick Klassen. They have a little meeting right around Eric Kramer.
Nice punt by Harper as the wind starts to blow again, but he kicked it right through that wind. 4 yards. Richie Hall picked up the ball, and he is down at the 25-yard line. No flags down, so the Riders will scrimmage there.
Richie Hall's importance to this football team in 1988 has not only been playing in the defensive secondary. His special team work has been outstanding, both as a punt returner and as a blocker. He really has been an all-around player for this football team, and John Gregory's glad he got him from Calgary.
26-yard line. Tom Burgess, 7 of 13 so far. The touchdown was to Jeff Fairholm on the first series. Wilson Jones is going nowhere and actually will lose a yard of the play.
Good play by Mitchell Price coming down. Lots of action along the offensive line with people pulling. Mitchell Price was able to get through, break through the confusion and get in on Wilson Jones. Tom Burgess, I think, has been a surprise, not necessarily a surprise, but a real plus. Having Austin down, Burgess has stepped in and done a good job at quarterback, proving he can be a starter.
Pass is not caught in bounds. It is caught, mind you, but not in the field of play by Don Narcisse, and so Saskatchewan will punt.
Narcisse, with excellent concentration on the football, just simply ran out of sideline or area before he gets to the sideline. Watch this, boy. He focuses in on this. Knows Major's coming underneath. The ball's just thrown enough to the outside by Burgess, so it couldn't be picked off.
You're downtown, Chrysler Connection.
The last time Baker had the 74-yard punt for a single. On the run, Sean Faulkner at his 45. Faulkner running it all the way back to the 40 of the Riders, down at the 36, maybe the 35-yard line. A big punt return puts Calgary into excellent field position. The Stampeders looking for a tying touchdown. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers could have clinched second place in the East today, but they didn't. They lost again to the Argonauts 22-16. So Winnipeg and Hamilton go to the final weekend undecided about where their game will be in the CFL Eastern semifinal. The Argos will await the winner. First down, Stampeders. Kramer throws. Get enough on that pass to Jay Christensen. And it forced him to take an awful hit when he caught the ball from Harry Skipper.
Throwing into the right coverage. Skipper, who's on the corner, takes the slot back going deep. Halfback comes up inside. And boy, what a hit.
That ball should have got to Christensen faster, and it would have made it a lot easier on him. Tribute to him to catch the ball and gain 5 yards. Straight up the middle as Tim Petrus will get the first down. Jurison makes the tackle.
If Kramer can get into the situation where he can mix up his game plan, throw different things at the Saskatchewan defense and really keep them off guard, they will have better success.
You could say this about any team, but it really does help to be able to run the ball against Saskatchewan. It's pretty tough facing that pass rush if you are throwing the ball all the time. So the Stampeders surely will try to establish something along the ground. A good gain on Second down by Petros to move the yardsticks. First down, Richie Hall comes with a blitz. Kramer throws it. Incomplete as he tried to hit Larry Willis. Hall is in there fast.
Coming from the short side of the field this time, Richie Hall leaves his halfback spot. Perfect timing, gets a jump in the ball. He's going full blast when the ball snapped. As you can see, Kramer really thrown out of his throwing motion just a little bit. That's all it takes.
Second down 10 from the 24-yard line. Kramer on the run, gives it back. Well short of the first down is Petros, who thought he saw a way to move it another 6 yards and get that first down. However, Larry Kuharich must look at a kicking situation, and he will send Mark McLaughlin onto the field. McLaughlin made a field goal of 23 yards earlier. This will be just a little longer. But we'll preface every Calgary kick today with the possibility that if they kick it, they can get 3 points. Fakes are always possible when a team out of the playoffs try to spoil things for a contender. McLaughlin does kick this one, though, and makes 3 more points. And it is 10-6 now in favor of Saskatchewan. As we say, first place in the West isn't going to be decided until next Sunday. We'll be in Edmonton, showing you the game between the Calgary Stampeders and the Eskimos. We'll also have coverage of the game from Saskatchewan between the Riders and the Riders, the visitors from Ottawa. Again, the situation, if Saskatchewan wins today and next week, then Saskatchewan finishes first. Edmonton would need a win next week over Calgary to make sure of second ahead of BC. If you've been waiting patiently for the situation that might develop in BC's favor for a first place finish, this is it. The Lions would have to win their last game against Winnipeg. They'd have to have 2 Saskatchewan losses today and next Sunday, plus an Edmonton loss next Sunday. Highly unlikely that the Lions can sneak into first place. But wherever they finish, they're going to be tough to handle in the playoffs.
I was going to say timing is everything, and the BC Lions have that and a lot of other things going for them in their favor. Matt Dunnigan playing extremely well. The defense led by Braswell in the middle. That defensive secondary playing as well as they have all year. You know, if you can keep yourself in contention and then get hot near the end, that's what counts, and that's what they seem to be doing.
Kickoff hangs up there a while, bounces. Now the Riders were lax in not fielding that quicker, and that's what it cost them, possession of the football.
Quite simply a mistake that shouldn't happen. Tony Dennis comes up with an awfully big play coming down, realizing that after the ball's been kicked, it hangs up there. And that bounce just high enough out of the reach of this outstretched arms of Jeff Treflin. Tony Dennis gets there. Heads up play by Dennis.
Well, if it amounts to a jumping contest for possession of the ball, Treflin isn't going to win very often. They waited too long, and here the Stampeders revitalized now with a field goal and a recovered kickoff. Faulkner with a good gain into the 16-yard line, first down, Calgary.
A play to the short side of the field. Faulkner has an escort. See the right guard, 64 Watson, pulling around, does a good job at kick-out block. You just see the back of it on Elgard, and then Faulkner uses his ability to get upfield and pick his way past the first down.
Kramer handoff, very slow developing play, and at that, it doesn't gain very much. Petros on the ground.
Petros carries for a couple of yards.
Petros has had great success, as the Stampeders have had with that play. Slow developing, but if Petros can get some time and belly back out, get a little bit deeper, and get around to the outside, they've had some success, as I said, and taken it for some big ones. Just good defense by the Riders that time.
Gain almost to the 14-yard line. Call it a gain of 2, and 2nd and 8. Stampeders from the 14 to the Riders. Kramer gets some time to throw this time. Flag goes down. Holding is indicated in the backfield against the Stampeders.
Kramer receiving great protection, but an offensive lineman, when he deals with a front four like the Riders have, can only legally keep a man off their quarterback for so long. There's just too much talent on the field not to tug on their sweater a little bit, and at that time they were caught.
Holding, 59 Calgary. Second down repeated.
Make it second with 18.
They could have declined the penalty and forced the Stampeders to try a field goal. Instead, they take it and give the Stamps another shot at second down. Mind you, it is second and long yardage. Kramer throws a screen pass over the head of Petros, and so Saskatchewan's decision to take the penalty seems to look proper now, as it'll be a longer field goal attempt for Mark McLaughlin.
Has to be frustrating for the Stampeders to get so close in so many situations and not be able to finish it off. 3 points are great, but I don't know if it's enough to beat the Riders.
McLaughlin has made his first two. This one from 31 yards out is good. And the Stampeders are within a point on the scoreboard now because of 3 Mark McLaughlin field goals. It is 10-9 in favor of Saskatchewan.
You have to be able to chip away at the scoreboard. John Gregory said that to us before the game, and Larry Kaharich is taking that same philosophy and hoping that the 3 and the 3 and the 3 and then add a couple of touchdowns in there will be enough.
Just a reminder,
those are 3 bonus points for the Stampeders as they got them after recovering their own kickoff. Some sloppy work by the Rough Rider return team. Saskatchewan finally does get its hands on the ball now at its 35-yard line. Burgess rolling, got away from one man, has a lot of room to the other side of the field. Close to a first down. Jeffers making the tackle on the Saskatchewan quarterback.
Burgess having to pull the ball down in that sprint formation. That is, the Riders run so many different types of running plays, passing plays from that sprint formation. That's one of the things that makes it so valuable in your offensive set, is the variety that you can throw in and attach to the sprint.
Second and a yard for Saskatchewan from its 44. And the 3 backs are in there. They threw to Jurison on second and short earlier in the game. Burgess keeps it and gets the first down this time with just under 3 minutes to go in the first half. This is a Foster's Lager telecast on the Canadian Football Network. All right at midfield with 2.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Burgess handed the ball off to McCray. It came loose. The whistle had blown. Let's hope McCray gets up.
McCray hit right at the line of scrimmage.
Really took a wallop, and the knee seemed to bend underneath him. He shakes it off and appears okay.
Quincy Williams steps down very hard inside the block and destroys the play.
Make it second and 11.
I think you see what I meant about the knee, but McCray is right up and all right. Meanwhile, it is a loss of a yard. Second down and 11. Here comes the Calgary blitz. And it gets to Burgess. He flips away a pass to Milson Jones for a short gain, preventing a loss, but not nearly getting close to the first down. So it's a kicking situation for Saskatchewan.
Good for a gain of 4.
It's a play by Burgess, finding himself in trouble. That little shuttle pass almost looked like an old guy that wore number 12 in Edmonton, Tom Wilkinson. Take advantage of any situation. He did that many a time.
From the Calgary 52.
38 is Doug Landry, if you're following along with your program and can't find number 38. His number 39 was soaked with Vaseline, declared illegal, and stripped off his back early in this ball game as the punt by Terry Baker goes out of bounds. It appeared that's what he wanted to do.
44-yard kick by
to make a run back impossible, and
Calgary 8-yard line.
With not too much time left, Calgary is deep in its own zone with the football.
Poley snapped the football, then braced himself for a shot. Now he's going head-to-head with Landry. Landry's going backwards, and the old polecat just keeps going forward. Does a good job on snapping both in punts, field goals, and extra points. They've got two good ones now with Marker Ness back off the injured list.
Where's the ball, and is it a safety? No, the Stampeders appear to get it out. All sorts of trouble for Calgary there, and it appears that just to escape without any points scored against them, 2 or 7, is something of a miracle for Calgary. A dangerous play with Kramer in his end zone.
Mike Palumbo comes up with the loose ball. The pressure comes from the outside to Kramer's right to the top of the screen, just a hit right there. And then it becomes the grease pig situation. You see it pop out at the back. Palumbo trying to get it across the goal line, and does. Stampeders are going to have to pick up that pressure a little bit more effectively.
Well, if he wants to throw on second down, he'll have to do it from his end zone as well, because the ball is at the 1-yard line. He will hand it off. Stampeders come out to the 5-yard line. It's still a punt from the end zone for Glenn Harper as Tim Petros carried the ball to the 5. Lots of time left for Saskatchewan. 1:21 to go. They're going to get their hands on the ball. It figures in great field position in this final minute.
Not only does Harper have to kick from his end zone, he has to kick against a fairly stiff breeze. I would think it's a situation where Saskatchewan would not worry so much about the block. Just make sure the punt is kicked and then set up a return.
Well, in this situation, you want to make sure you get 3 points before the half ends and hopefully put yourself in position to try for 7.
Get a look right here what Glenn Harper has to look at in respect to pressure.
The clock is ticking down, and they just may take a penalty on this deliberately. The yardage isn't going to hurt them. They're already close to their goal line. They'll move the ball back half the distance.
Time count violation, number 6 Calgary. 3rd down, repeat it.
Now, though, the clock doesn't start, of course, till that ball is kicked.
The reason for the delay is Calgary is going to try to execute an offensive play, the punt, with 11 men. Darcy Kopp missing. Now they have him back in, they can go ahead. With a little bit more confidence anyways.
Low snap, and Harper may be ready to give up 2 points. Yes, they will concede 2 points, figuring they were going to get 3 scored against them anyway. Now they have to make sure that 2 is all they give up in this final minute.
I think it's a pretty good play by head coach Kaharich if in fact that was the decision. The ball was snapped a little bit low, but I don't think that was the reason Harper went into the scamper. It was simply to give up only 2 points, as you said, Dave, now that they'll be forced to kick off from their 35-yard line. I think it's a smart play.
Well, if the halftime score reads the way it is now, then it proves to be a good decision. But if Saskatchewan comes down and kicks a field goal anyway, then they've just got 2 points that Calgary has given them. And it doesn't look so good.
With that wind blowing the way it is, maybe not a bad idea for Mark McLaughlin to pick an open area in the Rider return scheme and try to drop it in like they did the last time. Ball's going to stay up there.
56 seconds remaining. Larry Kuharich choosing to give Saskatchewan 2 points in order to prevent 3 or more being scored against his Calgary Stampeders. McLaughlin's kick from the 35-yard line is nice and high and pretty deep. Stampeders didn't want to give McCray that good a return, though, as he's back almost to midfield. 51 seconds to go. So with Ridgway and the wind, the Saskatchewan Roughriders may yet get the 3 points. Or more, of course. They want 7. Tom Burgess clapping his hands and trying to make the second touchdown of this game in this final minute of the first half.
You're sure you never come on the field expecting or looking only to get 3 points. You can bet Burgess and the rest of the offensive team will try to get the most they possibly can, use the clock effectively.
Burgess over the head of Intended receiver Ray Elgard.
Burgess trying to hit Elgard in that seam. Pressure from Stu Laird and good coverage by safety Greg Peterson. The Darth Vader look is taking over in the CFL as a number of those players are going with the visors.
To Fairholm, and it takes Derek Taylor a while to bring him down. And already with that play, they're in field goal range with 40 seconds to go.
Pretty good execution by the Riders. So Burgess is sprinting out the turn back, blocking. Very effective by the running back McCray up front to put people down on the ground. And the ball nicely thrown over the shoulder of Jeff Fairholm.
Gain to the Calgary 33-yard line, so if they get no farther, it's still a 40-yard field goal for Ridgway. Flag goes down. Burgess of Milson Jones, and that's the kind of running he exhibited in the Grey Cup game as an Edmonton Eskimo. He scores a touchdown temporarily, very much temporarily, as the penalty flag is against Saskatchewan. Yes, Milson Jones can make tacklers miss.
Well, one thing you don't want to do with Milson Jones if you're going to come in and tackle him is hit him up in the upper body, especially if he has some momentum. You talk about delivering a blow as an offensive player. Number 32 of the Riders did that a couple of times in the last play, but it all goes for naught.
Well, that's a damaging penalty in a couple of ways. It wipes out a touchdown, and it also takes the ball back to the 43-yard line, from where Ridgway's field goal would not be considered automatic if the Riders wind up trying it. 22 seconds, though, as they try to get some of the yards back. Burgess will run down at the 37, reaching for the 36 with 16 seconds left. Time for another play, and then they could try the field goal if they don't move the sticks or make a touchdown.
Williams giving that fake move, and the inside being blocked out nicely by Milson Jones to give the area for Burgess to run.
Burgess does hit Fairholm over the middle, and the ball is right where Ridgway should like it, in the middle of the field. The Riders will call a timeout. They don't have a first down, but with 7 seconds left, they're not interested in anything more than the field goal anyway. And this is, or could be, a record-equaling field goal by Dave Ridgway.
During the pregame warm-up, Dave Ridgway tries kicking field goals with and against the wind and knows his range, and before the game he discusses that situation, or the potential situation that might present itself as the game goes on, with John Gregory suggesting that, yes, I can kick them with the wind 50 to 55 yards. And surprisingly, he's very honest, according to John Gregory. He doesn't try to push his abilities past the means. As you said, this is well within his range.
To join Louis Passaglia in the CFL record book, he won't do it this time. The Stampeders block it and run with it. Time has expired. He'll have to get all the way to make this count. Larry Hogue ran out of bounds, so on that note, the first half ends. Dave Ridgway has missed a convert and a field goal today.
Larry Kaharich not waiting to have history tied. He's going to come in and have it blocked. Eugene Belleville up the middle. Larry Hogue on the outside is the recipient of a pretty good bounce. Now it's try to turn it into a major. Wasn't able to, and Dave Ridgway is going to have to wait for another opportunity.
Well, because Saskatchewan scored the only touchdown in the first half, Saskatchewan is the team that's leading. Second half about to get underway, as the Riders will kick to the Stampeders, who will have the benefit of the wind in this third quarter and will try hard to make use of it. Ridgway's kickoff is going to bounce out of bounds. He'll have to do it from 5 yards further back.
Ridgway's kickoff out of bounds in Calgary 26-yard line.
Choosing to keep that ball low into the wind, trying to drive it, possibly having a miscue by one of the people that are in the front wedge of the Stampeders. Miscue being not handling it correctly and getting a turnover. But that time just got away from him a bit.
Well, he could yet set a record, Dave Ridgway, but so far it hasn't been a great day. He was shaken up after a convert was missed. He had a field goal blocked. Just booted a kickoff out of bounds, which amounts to a misdemeanor, we know, but not adding up to the greatest of Ridgway days so far. This kickoff straight down the middle of the field, nice and high. Stampeders' Stacey Dawsey with lots of speed returns it past the 50-yard line. Joining us in the broadcast booth is the general manager of the Stampeders, Normie Kwong. Teams like the Stamps out of the playoffs. They're fond of saying wait till next year, and you're not waiting. You're already talking about next year, unveiling the marketing plan for 1989. How do you hope to do better?
Dave, we have come up with some different plans after consulting with other teams in the league and finding out what worked for them, and we've come out early enabling buyers to be able to get season tickets for Christmas, for instance, and we've slanted our whole program towards getting more youth into the stands.
And onto the field must be a better team, right?
Onto the field must be a better team next year.
Norm, anytime you put together a plan like that, you have to have specific objectives. What are a couple of them?
Well, we want to get back up to that season ticket base to around the 20,000 mark. We, unfortunately, last year only had about 14, and that'll be our main objective. We are, like I said, slanting our program towards a youth market, and also there's about 4 or 5 different options that people can take advantage of, depending on the circumstances.
Do you have a deal with a weatherman to prevent the rainstorms that you experienced this season?
That's the only guy we haven't made a contract with, and we're working on that right now.
Mind you, the coach didn't mind the rain. The team probably played its best football on those nights.
Yeah, we won those two horrendous weather games here, and unfortunately, we didn't have enough of it, I guess.
Timmy McRae carries for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, as you can see, and follow along with the game as we talk to Normie Kwong. Not enough for a Saskatchewan first down. Who do you like in the West with this close race for first place?
Well, I hate to go against Edmonton, but Saskatchewan is my favorite to go because they've been so long out of it, and I believe that their fans really deserve to go.
Neil, can you imagine somebody who hates to go against Edmonton?
Well, we'll talk about this in a minute or so. Norm, we'll just take you aside. Norm, the one thing I'd like to ask you, it's a fairly comprehensive structure, and I've looked through it. How come so early? Why are you releasing it now?
Mainly because, Neil, we felt that to get an early start on things, actually we're only a week ahead of Saskatchewan and Winnipeg. I believe they're coming out very shortly. We wanted to get a chance at that Christmas market.
And also in the plan is to involve the players a little bit more in the community.
Yes, and to get them involved and have the people still thinking about football when football season was on.
Normie Kwong, thanks for your involvement with us all season long and today in the broadcast booth. And good luck to the Stampeders the rest of the way today as you try to become a factor in this tight race for first place. That much has been done already by the Stampeders, keeping this game close. Saskatchewan leading by only 3 points and in a position of vulnerability here with a punt from the goal line by Terry Baker. Bouncing into the arms of Sean Faulkner. He breaks into the clear, has only the punter to beat. Baker slowed him up and allowed Dan Rasevich to make the tackle, but look at this, 1st and goal, Calgary.
Baker having a tough task kicking into that wind. As you'll see, the wind will drive the ball down, gets it to the ground that much earlier, and a good bounce into Faulkner's hands, but boy, he just pops it through. Good job of blocking initially, and if it isn't for Rasevich's great hustle from the backside, and Baker just disturbing Faulkner's path, that's a touchdown.
Here's the best touchdown chance for the Stampeders so far today. 1st and goal from just outside the 5. Kramer to Faulkner. He'll try to get it this time, but he'll lose yardage.
Key play right here is made by 74 Dan Rasevich. You'll see him. The play will start at him. Good view right there. See him get down, break up the block, and then reach in and just get enough of Faulkner's leg to put him down. Great defensive play.
Push the Stampeders back to the 8-yard line. It is 2nd and goal from there. You would think that Kramer's going to have to throw it this time. Far side of the field. Touchdown, Jake Christensen. Nicely done by Kramer and the receiver, Christensen, and the Stampeders go in front for the first time today.
The Calgary horse finally gets a chance to stretch his legs, and Kramer puts the ball right where Christensen wants it, over the outside shoulder. Fuller almost seems to hesitate just for a second, thinking that if he could pick it off, he was all by himself down the sidelines, but the ball was thrown in a perfect spot by Kramer.
Here's a team whose season is over as far as the playoffs are concerned. Nothing to play for but 2 games against contending teams, and the Stampeders are indicating with this effort that they're going to be in both games. What do you know? Another convert is missed. The Riders had one go awry earlier, and now the Stampeders miss an extra point. So rather than lead by 4, it is a 3-point. Eric Kramer to Jay Christensen for a touchdown. Only 6 points, however, as the convert was missed, but the Stampeders are in front of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who want to be in front of everybody in the West at the end of next week, but they really need this game. Here's a loose ball. Another bad thing happens to the Green Riders. Chris Major with the ball. He hasn't stepped out yet. Following his blockers to the 15-yard line, disaster strikes the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Great hustle by the Stampeders getting down. Things that have gone against them to this point have turned around and been a positive for them in today's game. Danny Ferdinand hitting up in there. See the ball come up high where he's being held. It gets away from his ribs. And when it does that, it becomes a little bit tougher to hang on to. And that shot jarred it loose. And this is how the whole thing started. Kramer 3-step drop, zips the balls out, the ball out to Christensen, and now it's almost like, holy smoke, it's a touchdown.
Are you kidding?
Now he's going to get another chance. You know, John Gregory said before the game that the one thing that concerned him about his football team at this time is the intensity level. Can we maintain that? We can't be satisfied with the playoffs. And 4 turnovers sometimes means that things just aren't geared up enough.
There's no doubting the coach's intensity level. I'll say that. He could see first place slipping away from him today for the last 2 plays, and the unthinkable could happen. But Calgary pulled a big upset today. Colbert missed that touchdown try as Kramer threw it to the end zone. You can't assume anything in sports. It's said often enough that the game must be played, and if you knew who would win, you wouldn't bother playing the game. But here are the Saskatchewan Roughriders last night, I think, assuming that they were going to finish first, and maybe assuming too much too soon.
Well, you can't look at it as a pressure situation as Landry receives some attention. I think you have to look at it as an opportunity for the Riders. Don't get all uptight, but see the potential. And as I said, the opportunity of what this game could mean.
They'd really like to stop the Stampeders here. Kramer throws. Touchdown to Stacey Dawsey, and the Stampeders are running to congratulate him, and the Riders are all standing still, shocked, wondering what has happened in this 3rd quarter.
Good throw by Kramer. The graduate of Indiana, Dawsey, has to go down to catch it, maybe more so to secure it, to make sure there's no miscues, and that'll be his first CFL touchdown. And that's why he's got the ball under his arm, because that one will go into the trophy case.
The Stampeders trailed throughout the first half, and now with 2 touchdowns, they couldn't get one in the first 30 minutes, mind you. They have taken a lead, and will wait for the convert this time before we declare the lead a 10-point margin. It is that. It is 22-12 in favor of the Calgary Stampeders, the team with nothing to lose, nothing to gain as far as the standings, but a whole lot of happiness could be felt by the Stampeders if they could knock off Saskatchewan today.
Better job of protection by the front 5 of the Stampeders and the running backs getting involved in the protection. See, Petros comes up, throws the block, cuts a man down, and once again, Eric Kramer has a chance to celebrate.
He had a miserable first half. There was no other way of looking at 3 completions. A bad interception that he threw early in the 2nd quarter, but things are going right now for the Calgary Stampeders and their young quarterback, Eric Kramer. And that man, Stacey Dawsey, has just made it a 10-point Calgary lead.
Larry Kaharich says there's the first thing when you start your season, the priority is you play for the playoffs and to win championships. When you're out of the playoffs, you play for your job. The Stampeders now are playing for the pride and for their job. And I think you can see John Gregory is visibly affected by this. He's as intense as anyone when it comes to a football game.
Well, it's a 1-2 punch that his Riders have taken in the midsection. 2 Calgary touchdowns in less than a minute to put the Stampeders on top. And here's Ferdinand again, ball clutched firmly, one would expect. Tony Dennis falls on him. Ferdinand does have the ball, and he's out to the 32-yard line, where the Riders will go on offense with quarterback Tom Burgess.
Coming into this game, the Saskatchewan offense this year have scored 110 more points than this time last year. And now will be the time for Tom Burgess to get this offense rolling. And I wouldn't be surprised if they start to throw the ball a little bit more to the inside to Fairholm and Elgard.
Tank Landry received treatment on the sidelines for a neck injury. It was questionable whether he'd be back, but he's in there, as you can see. Here's McCray with a big run on first down. And Ford helps in the tackle, but McCray is all the way out to the 47, maybe the 48-yard line.
This is how the Riders started their first drive. You see Landry up inside. Good job of blocking by Mike Anderson. Gets out, cuts off the angle by Landry, gets in his face so he can't pursue. That's the way you block the middle linebacker.
Gray went to the 48-yard line. Saskatchewan territory, first down Riders. Suddenly trailing this game by 10. Milson Jones tackled after a gain of a couple.
Now Ralph the Dog is up and the fans going. Couldn't find him in the first half, but he's visible in the second.
Not uncommon, of course, to see Saskatchewan fans at any CFL stadium, but especially here in Calgary. The Roughriders are usually well represented, and their fans have to be feeling a bit like Coach John Gregory right now. Burgess plenty of time, and finally the time ends, and so does the play. A gain of a yard, not nearly enough. Quincy Williams, among others, helping for the Calgary defense, which has played very well, especially after giving up an early touchdown to these Saskatchewan Roughriders. Since then, the Riders have not moved the ball at all.
That pressure due, in fact, to the coverage downfield. Pressure finally gets him. As you said, Burgess had plenty of time, but just great job of covering downfield for the Stampeders secondary and backers.
Baker's punt to Faulkner at a big return the last time, and this one isn't going to be too shabby either. Sean Faulkner near midfield. This CFN game is brought to you by Foster's Lager.
Sean Faulkner gets 34.
The gory third quarter details. As far as Saskatchewan was concerned, the Riders had a 3-point halftime lead and then watched it disappear. Jay Christensen, an 8-yard touchdown catch from Eric Kramer. Then after a fumble, Stacey Dawsey with a touchdown catch from Kramer. Another fumble and more Calgary points as McLaughlin kicked a field goal to make it 25-12. That's where we are right now, starting the fourth quarter. Burgess, nice pass to McDonald, and he's up close to the 45-yard line with a Saskatchewan first down as the Riders go with the win the rest of the way in this fourth quarter.
Over the middle, McDonald wide open, was able to gear it down, breaking across that center and allow Burgess a better target. Stampeders choosing to only bring 4. Great pocket of protection done by the offensive line, and you see how McDonald just gears it down a bit when he goes through that seam.
Burgess throws it up. Barra incomplete at the sideline. McDonald again, the intended receiver.
Anytime you get in a situation where you see the offensive line fire out very quickly and try to get the hands of the defensive linemen down and get them on the ground, usually means they want to throw the ball quickly. That time the coverage on the outside was too good. Burgess had to hang on and throw it a little bit further.
Stampeders on a blitz. Burgess throws it on the run. The ball is caught. Hogue made the tackle on McDonald.
Burgess completes it from McDonald into Calgary territory.
Burgess effectively moving away from the pocket, moving towards the line of scrimmage, and then firing the ball to McDonald.
That was an excellent job of scrambling by Tom Burgess. Finding a receiver, too, when it appeared he might have to run for his life. There he goes again. Quick pass, catch by Elgard. Gordon Major made the tackle, but Ray Elgard is inside the Calgary 30-yard line as suddenly the Saskatchewan offense gets rolling.
The sprint formation, good blocking onto the outside by the backs. Watch how Elgard gets that ball, pulls it in quickly, and wastes no time getting downfield. That up the yardage.
Ball at the 29-yard line, Stampeder territory. Burgess to the end zone. It is incomplete. Two Stampeders were there to battle Jeff Fairholm for the ball, and Larry Hogue, who has been impressive in that right corner for Calgary today, went up and knocked it down.
Larry Harris said Larry Hogue had maintained his focus throughout the season, though he hadn't had a chance to play. He'd worked hard in practice, and if he had the opportunity, he was going to make good, and he has this afternoon. It's tough not playing a whole season and then get thrown into a game, especially against a couple guys like Narcisse McDonald.
He hasn't played this season, but of course Larry Hogue does bring valuable CFL experience into this assignment today, and he's handling himself very well. Copp came on the blitz. Fairholm had it knocked away again. Derek Taylor was there, so was Greg Peterson, and it's third down.
Burgess again under pressure from the outside this time. The blitz was picked up in the middle. I think Burgess knew he had Fairholm for a second, but they closed quickly on him.
We focus on Dave Ridgway again. His second opportunity at tying Louis Pasaglia's record of 52 field goals in one season. And if he makes this, he is also over the 200-point mark for this season, which only Pasaglia has done previously. It's good, so Dave Ridgway has tied the CFL record and is over 200 points. This is a Foster's Lager telecast on the Canadian Football Network.
Hi, Christopher. Hey, we're coming back. We're coming back. Stick with us, Saskatchewan.
2 field goals and 6 points today give Dave Ridgway 52 field goals this season. That ties the record. 201 points this season. That brings him closer to another record. Meanwhile, here's the Saskatchewan defense trying to stop Eric Kramer and the Calgary Stampeders on offense. Petros for about 8 yards. It always helps to run the ball when you've got a lead in the fourth quarter. You're trying to protect that lead and get the clock to move.
Garrison is back in on his turn and rotating. Missed a lot of play in the third quarter. Is now back in at that very familiar spot. Strong side end. Coming into that 2-point stance.
Second down, Stamps need a little more than 2. They move quickly and too early, and flags come down, and so it's going to be a Saskatchewan decision. After the play went nowhere, the Riders will probably decline the penalty and to make the Stampeders punt, if Larry Kuharich and company want to, of course.
Legal procedure, 64 Calgary, decline. Third down.
So if you're ever going to fake from punt formation, there's third down and a couple of yards to go. What do you think?
I'd kick the ball away.
I didn't ask what you'd do. I asked you what you thought Larry Kuharich might do.
I think he'll kick the ball away.
What Glenn Harper does. Bounce sits right up for Richie Hall. He goes down immediately. Ken Ford, great tackle on the special teams for the Stampeders.
Richie Hall a little slow getting up. Almost seemed like a cramp. Would make his way to the sidelines on his own. You know, an offensive system, when the center breaks the huddle, obviously he's the first out in many situations. He will look at the defense, and when he comes up over the ball, it's his job to identify what defensive set they are looking at and point to the strength side and really tell the rest of the offensive linemen what we are facing in this particular play.
Burgess rolling to his right very quickly, throwing a pass that is out of the reach of Ray Elgard. Second down and 10 Saskatchewan with 10.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
It'll be second and 10.
Edmonton hoping for Calgary, BC hoping for Calgary. If the Stampeders win this game, then yes, those slim first place hopes of the Lions remain alive into the final week.
I guess this is the way it should be as the season comes to an end. Mike Anderson looking for a win, hoping that tomorrow night he can celebrate with his father and Father Paul's birthday on a good note, not with a loss.
That ball bounced, and it's not a catch. Despite the efforts of Don Narcisse to indicate otherwise, it's incomplete and third down.
It goes incomplete. Third down, 10 yards to go. Saskatchewan. Football fans, you can play along with the pros and every.
Well, Mr. Jones having a discussion with one of the defensive players, pointing a finger. Can be frustrating when you're used to having success on offense, as the Riders have, and really saw an opportunity slip by last week in Hamilton, and don't want to see the same thing happen again.
Well, you're right. Not only could this be a missed opportunity, but the Riders have to start asking themselves about the way they're playing. Forget what they're failing to do as far as the standings are concerned. They had an injured Hamilton team down and apparently out and couldn't win last week. And now the Saskatchewan Roughriders are trailing by 10 with just under 10 minutes remaining today. On the Canadian Football Network, November 13th, you'll see the Eastern semifinal from Winnipeg or Hamilton. November 20th, the Western final from Edmonton, Regina, or Vancouver. And November the 27th, the 76th Grey Cup, and we know where that's going to be, at Lansdowne Park in Ottawa. Kramer pumps once, throws it deep. Willis tries to run under it. He's got it at the 30-yard line. A big play by Larry Willis.
That pump fake, I don't think, held Magruder, but Willis was able to move after the ball was thrown. Kramer won't see the end result of that play, but it's a positive one. Get to the outside. Magruder in good coverage, but he's caught looking at Willis, not having a chance to look back for the football. That's the advantage that Willis has.
You saw all there was to see on that play. From Kramer, the quarterback, to Willis, the receiver. Here's another scoring opportunity for Calgary. Running play, Andy McVeigh in the backfield now. Gains short yardage on first down.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. From my fans up there. Thank you.
Second and 9 from the 29.
I know you're speechless, aren't you?
You had to say something else before I spoke, otherwise people might have thought I was making a fool of myself. Kramer tosses the screen, and it is incomplete.
Kramer tries the screen for Petro. It's incomplete.
Kramer trying to get that screen off. He's got to be able to get set and then backpedal. The idea of a screen is to try to pull the defense to you and then keep pulling them with the backpedal. Eric Kramer never got out of his backpedal to stop, and that's been the problem all day with that play. Good job by the defense reading it, and one-man pressuring.
Well, the punter Harper becomes a holder for the field goal kicker Mark McLaughlin, who is 4 for 4 and stealing some of Dave Ridgway's thunder, certainly sharing in the spotlight today anyway. Ridgway winds up setting a CFL record today. He won't do better than McLaughlin with 5 field goals on the day, and the Calgary lead is once again 13 points.
It was interesting to see Calgary do what John Gregory said that the Riders have had great success doing this year, and that's when getting in scoring opportunity plus territory, putting some points up on the board. I was a little bit concerned earlier whether just field goals would be enough. They've backed it up with a couple of touchdowns.
Here come the Riders, less than 2 touchdowns from the lead and less than 8 minutes to go. So the offense has to start working, and Tim McCray has a good gain running to the 50-yard line.
McCray's been able to get into that offensive line, defensive line area untouched a number of times. And that means the offensive line's coming off and getting in the faces and really building a wall between especially the linebackers, not allowing them to get up the field quickly and get into the holes.
Burgess will throw on first down. The flare pass to Jones. Boy, he's tough to bring down. Milson Jones to the 53-yard line of the Stampeders.
Mark McLaughlin has to feel good about his performance today. Been very steady. There's a lot of pressure on him to begin with when he became a Stampeder, filling in
Hi, Mom, Dad.
for a very popular JT Hay. But he's done very well.
That 58-yarder that he made, the longest of his season, is also the longest in the Canadian Football League this year.
Greg Peterson down.
When we talk about a long season for the Stampeders, we should say that it's been long in more ways than one, and these ways are positive. The Stampeders had the CFL's longest run from scrimmage, and that was a memorable one by Tim Petros at Toronto. McLaughlin's field goal, and don't stop there. Derek Taylor's interception return of 77 yards, the longest in the league this season. And Rick Warman, remember him? And Derek Holloway, remember him? They teamed up on an 86-yard pass and run play, the longest pass play in the CFL this season. Burgess, a nice catch and balancing act on the sidelines by McDonald, gives Saskatchewan a first down. They were second and short and went to the air in that situation. 6:38 to go. That's Jeff Yazzie.
And I'm not going to say what you said in the first half about Yazzie rules football.
First down, Riders.
First down for Saskatchewan. Well, Burgess waited too long. Soulard eventually got to him, and so did Eugene Beliveau.
Brought down to the backfield by Eugene Beliveau.
Looked as though he was set to throw it a second earlier, but when he held the ball that long, you knew that he was going down.
Another situation we've said before, in a circumstance like this, when the quarterback has plenty of time to throw the football and then the pressure finally gets to him, it's because the secondary or the scheme of defense that they were in at that point has done a good job in taking away any possible receiver.
Saskatchewan has the lead in sacks today, but it's a negligible one. Calgary's got almost as many sacks. Good position on the catch by Elgard. His physical strength and size was important there, and that's the biggest play of the game right now for the Riders as they regroup and realize they're battling the clock as well as the Stampeders. Elgard says, hurry up.
Burgess pressure from the backside by Taylor. The ball just gets up, but watch how Elgard takes the ball out of the air, doesn't let it come to him, makes the catch, and then as you saw, tells everyone to get downfield. Let's get this opportunity and take advantage of the clock.
First down from the Calgary 17-yard line. What a finish we could have if the Riders put the ball into the end zone here. Burgess running straight up the middle. Oh, he took a wallop at the 15-yard line by Quincy Williams. Burgess gets right up after gaining 2 yards.
Well, the pressure comes from outside in, forces Burgess up the tunnel. Looks like he has room with the play at the line of scrimmage, and of course, a good tackle by Williams straightens up Burgess.
He took him right off his feet and put him back down. 2nd and 8. Another key play for Saskatchewan. Burgess to the end zone, nobody there. All fouled up on the pass pattern, or Burgess's attempt to throw the intended toss. He maybe was throwing it away, I don't know. But Ridgway's staying where he is, and a little surprise, 4.5 minutes left. Saskatchewan doesn't want any field goals now. They're going to go for the 2 touchdowns to try to win it. So a 3rd down game. 3rd and 8 from the 15-yard line. The ball is caught. What's the signal? I think it's a touchdown. The entire Saskatchewan team is out on the bench wondering what's going on. It is Calgary ball. They are saying incomplete. John Gregory, incensed. We got to look at this one.
Well, there's an official in a great position. The one in the middle of your screen will turn and follow the ball. Watch him. It goes to the left. You make the decision. It goes through and drops to the turf.
Good call. On the ground, no doubt about it. And Roger Aldag shows the Saskatchewan reaction. There was a bit of confusion on Saskatchewan's 3rd down attempt, but the replay did show no catch in the end zone. Here's the story of the game then. Mark McLaughlin with 5 field goals. Stampeders had a big 3rd quarter, thanks largely to Saskatchewan miscues. 6 turnovers in the game for the Riders. And we can add that Dave Ridgway has tied a CFL record today, but it doesn't look as though it's too significant right now as far as Saskatchewan goes. And here is Emmanuel Tolbert. He started the game this way with a reverse to E.T. and the Calgary Stampeders come back to it and gain valuable field position.
The alignment most to the right. Tolbert is to the right. He comes back around. Rudy Phillips is released downfield. He puts a block on a rider to give Tolbert that much more room.
Right now, the team that's finished for the season in a couple of weeks is the one showing the enthusiasm, and the team that has its sights set on the Grey Cup appears downtrodden.
Timmy Petros carries. Razovich made the stop. A gain of about 4.
Larry Kuharich is right now saying, or perhaps he isn't, what if the game in Edmonton hadn't been blown? What if the snow hadn't been blowing in Ottawa and Calgary had won those games? The CFN game is brought to you by Foster's Lager. Well, they're painted green and white, but they're not having as much fun as they thought. We still haven't answered our halftime question, who the fellow is that sits next to us, but there is a good shot of our statistician, David Moyer,
who doubles as a game at the amusement park in the summertime.
From the 42-yard line, Stampeders trying to close out a big upset victory. Kramer throws, and that could have been very dangerous. Was dangerous, just wasn't damaging because the ball couldn't be caught by Joe Fuller.
6 yards to go from the 42.
Kramer getting help to his feet. The last time these two teams met at Taylor Field, Kramer was not able to practice the following week because of hits like this. The offensive line of the Stampeders have done a far better job protecting Kramer in this game. Left tackle Rudy Phillips down, and athletic therapist Pat Clayton taking a closer look at him.
Well, let's just restate the situation here that the Saskatchewan Roughriders are facing. They entered this game realizing that a win today and another win over the other last place team in the CFL, the Ottawa Roughriders, next week would give them first place and home field advantage in the Western Final. And I don't know if we can accuse the Roughriders of assuming too much, but I think a lot of the rest of us assumed that last night's result in Vancouver gave first place to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Apparently not so.
Rudy Phillips injured on the play.
2 minutes and 52 seconds is what John Gregory's team has to come back and wipe out a 13-point deficit. If they don't, then the Edmonton Eskimos can finish first next week by beating Calgary. But let's not assume that that'll happen either, the way the Stampeders have played today. Riders came close to blocking Harper's punt. Treflin on the return, looking to get outside. Good job by the Stampeders. Jeff Treflin had one man to beat, but Landry was out there. Now the Kemper's flare again.
Tom Spallettini in the middle of it, trying to get to somebody.
Too. Look at that.
First down.
Billy McCormick out there.
Woody Hayes is watching somewhere.
Well, as I spoke of the little things earlier on in the game that the Riders haven't done effectively today, and losing your cool is one of the things that championship teams don't do, because what it turns into is flags and hurts your team. And he realizes that, and I think that there is no place for losing your cool and on the field and effectively hurting the offensive team, putting them back even further.
First down at the 28-yard line. It should all be passes now for Tom Burgess and the offense. They need 2 touchdowns in less than 3 minutes. First pass is caught for a first down by Ray McDonald.
Burgess complete to McDonald. Over the 42-yard line.
You never stop believing you can come back even with 2:35 on the clock, down 13.
15-yard gain. First down.
Wide open is Elgard. Stampeders seemed to have him covered and then leave him as if they thought Burgess was going to run, but Elgard was all by himself. Good gain as the Riders line up quickly again.
Elgard has that ability to, when a quarterback starts to move and the reaction by the secondary takes place, he finds that empty area where no one's at and gives the quarterback a target.
Burgess to the sideline. That's caught by McDonald for another first down. Out of bounds to stop the clock. The Riders can do all of this they like, but they've got to do what they did the first time they got the ball way back in the first quarter, and that's score a touchdown and then another one. Getting into the end zone is vital now. Burgess had the right idea, but he threw it behind the intended receiver.
Once again, McDonald working the middle area. A little bit of a delay there. But because Burgess is forced out, he doesn't have the same body position to throw the football. Thus, that time it was a little bit behind. He's trying to improvise and do whatever he can to get himself another first down and in the end zone. There's Roger Aldag. He's getting looked at. You could see from that reaction.
Roger Aldag, the Rider injured.
Riders minus Aldag, break the huddle at the 27-yard line with Bob Foley replacing Aldag. It is second down. Burgess had a receiver come open too late, though, after the ball was thrown. That was Don Narciso. Here's another third down for Saskatchewan. Another play that requires them to make 10 yards or they turn the ball over.
That play just needed another second or so to allow Narcisse to come open over the middle. Burgess again having to throw the football under pressure. But just showing what the pressure on the quarterback does. You don't have to get a sack. Just be there before he wants to throw the football.
And this would appear to be it for Saskatchewan. They've got to have a first down. And they don't. Good try by Fairholm, but Larry Kuharich and the Calgary Stampeders are less than 2 minutes away now from a big upset.
Darcy Cox made the stop after a gain of 8 yards. Stampeders take over on downs on their own 20-yard line.
Burgess forced again, throwing the ball when he doesn't want to. Fairholm gives him a target by coming back and then struggles, but a good solid tackle by Hogue, taking Fairholm off his feet before he reached that first down marker. And now the Riders have to hope that Ted Heath's defense comes up with a big play.
1:56 to go, and as you might expect, the Stampeders are going to run. Kramer might not throw another pass today. Tim Petros is down but stays inbounds. Following the game, we will select the Foster's Lager MVP. The Stampeders haven't had much to celebrate in recent weeks. Saskatchewan Roughriders will go home next week to face the Ottawa Roughriders. And control of their finish may be out of their hands with today's loss. Petro straight up the middle to have a first down.
Hey, Michelle.
Doug Landry having a little bit of fun.
Get a thrill, my homeboy.
Tossed one of the footballs up into the crowd.
We live. Tell you drink Gatorade.
It is third down. Petro stopped just short. Stampeders will go for it, try to keep the ball out of Saskatchewan's hands. I think they'd like to have a look and see just how short they are, though, before that decision is made definite. Well, we're going to get the best look of all.
And the shoes by James Curry, the best in the West, and might have to put a hold on that tape job for another couple of weeks. And I'm sure, and you know, you said earlier, Dave, Larry Caharet saying, what if? I don't think there's any question he can sit in his office today after he wins this football game saying, what if, what if?
Kramer diving to try to get the first down. Well, he thinks he should have beaten Edmonton, and he apparently has beaten Saskatchewan. And Calgary's had some success against BC, so he looks up at the three teams in the playoffs and figures there's nothing to be ashamed of about the Stampeders except their point total. They just haven't won as many games as he feels they should have. Well, they're short. Kramer did not make it.
Did not get the first down.
It's hard to believe. They had half a yard to go, and he didn't get it. Suddenly, some new hope, although not a lot of it, for Saskatchewan. 1:15 to go. They have the ball at the 30-yard line of the Stampeders, and it's got to go to the end zone as fast as Tom Burgess can get it there. Short one this time to McRae. Can he run it in there? Well, Tim McRae is over for the touchdown.
Tim McRae crosses the goal line with 1:06 left in this fourth quarter. McRae releases late out of the backfield, and then he turns into what looked like he's going to cut back in, back outside, and really uses his speed to get to that corner.
We should have another look at the third down quarterback sneak by Eric Kramer. We'll try to give you that. Showed you the measurement, then we showed you the play, and I just sort of assumed he had made the first down, but not so, and suddenly the game is on the line again. Though Saskatchewan will probably have to try a short kickoff.
You couldn't get a better view right here. Kramer steps back and then goes behind the left guard tackle, Spolatini, and comes up short. And in response, Tom Burgess doesn't sneak it, but gets it downfield by sneaking it to his running back, McRae. He turns it into a big one.
I think on the third down play, you said it accurately. Kramer stepped back before he stepped forward, and that's not the idea. You give up the advantage of the yard between the two lines of scrimmage if the offensive and defensive lines, that is, if you're going to step backwards before you go forwards. So, Saskatchewan, do they kick it short or kick it long?
That's a heck of a question. 1:06. The wind's behind them.
It would seem to me that you've got to try to get the ball right now. There's no use.
Well, look at the receivers they've got at the end of the where Ridgway would try to loop a kick. Calgary has what they call as their hands team. All the people that have handled the football over in that same side. Perfect
Up in
kick.
the air nicely now. Get it out of bounds if you're... Who touched it? Big argument here.
But Gary Lewis, 79, he doesn't think there's any doubt.
Referee's waiting for the signal. It is Calgary ball. Stampeders tried to influence the call, though. That's Christensen, who knocked it off a Saskatchewan player who was already standing out of bounds. Christensen played volleyball with it.
Watch Elgard. He's going to be blocked by Andy McVeigh. Good job by Andy McVeigh not worrying about where the ball's going, but worrying about the potential pass receiver or the guy could get to the football.
Now Calgary's job is to just hold on to the ball. The Riders have a timeout that they will employ in this final minute. Exactly 1 minute to go.
When the Riders do get the ball back, if they do, they're going to have an awful long way to go. Unless they're successful in blocking a punt if that situation presents itself.
Now the Stampeders should use as much time as possible before running this play. Clock started at a minute. Snap the ball at 47. Kramer throws a pass, a big play to Stacey Dawsey to get the first down. Now another disagreement in the backfield as the Stampeders rush to the aid of quarterback Eric Kramer. Stacey Dawsey will get there late after making a very important catch. That time they make the first down and keep the ball.
Dawsey playing to the side of Harry Skipper. Skipper giving him a pretty good cushion, so Dawsey just simply positions himself past the first down marker. The disagreement is about the clock. John Gregory saying when the ball goes out of bounds, there was 42 seconds left, and on the clock now says 35.
I think he's got a point.
Oh, and a good one.
The clock has to be reset. You saw that the play started with 47 seconds to go. It was a quick pass and out of bounds to Dawsey, and suddenly there's 35 seconds there on the clock. Well, it didn't take 12 seconds for that last play. I don't think 3 seconds will make the difference between winning and losing for John Gregory, but he's trying to get all he can get right now.
Seen this happen a couple times this year.
Shouldn't be a way Calgary can lose now. They have got a first down, so they can run 3 plays. Well, they're going to believe him at 42 seconds.
Should have gone for a minute. Go higher.
Fact is, the ball's at the 42-yard line as well.
Well, you'd think 2 running plays with the clock running will be enough.
Now, Gregory can't believe that they're starting the clock. He thinks Dawsey was out of bounds and the clock should have been stopped. They're down below the 35 that he didn't like in the first place. And McVay is going to make sure he stays inbounds. That's like winning a battle and losing the war.
Well, you know, coming into this game, the Riders haven't had a lot of success here in Calgary McMahon Stadium. In the last 5 games, they've won only 1 and been outscored 156 to 66. As James Curry receives some attention. But you wouldn't think with the team the Riders have coming in this situation, having everything in front of them, being able to really control what's going on.
That could have been from the 3rd quarter or the 4th quarter. It's just gone downhill since halftime for John Gregory. That was just a moment ago, though, as he vented his frustration again. James Curry stays down. 24 seconds remaining. And a 6-point lead for the Calgary Stampeders, who have 2nd down.
Saying Curry missed a few games this year because of a bad shoulder. Right now they're looking at that left knee. Curry had his toes operated on in the offseason in February and said he wouldn't have been able to return to the Saskatchewan Roughriders unless they had replaced the turf, because what he had in effect was turf toe. They were so bad. Thank goodness for the Riders. that they did replace it with the OmniTurf, and he was able to return.
The Stampeders will try to upset another first-place contender next Sunday, and we'll be there at Edmonton to show you this game between the Stamps and the Eskimos. If Calgary holds on and wins this, and the Eskimos win next week, then Edmonton will finish in first place. However, if the Stampeders could beat the Eskimos as well, then anybody could finish first. Saskatchewan, Edmonton, or the BC Lions, perhaps.
Well, the Stampeders will have to take all types and kinds of footwear to Commonwealth Stadium, because being the time of year that it is, they could have any kind of surface. So be prepared for the worst.
As you see, that clock continues to move towards 0, and as long as the Stampeders hold on to the ball, they cannot be in trouble. Wow, my goodness.
Timeout called by the Riders, and oh my goodness,
what was that
just about
play?
describes it. That was that reverse.
Why?
I can't answer that question. Just tell you what the play is.
I mean, the third down gamble a minute ago was bad enough, but
you know, you see an opportunity, Gregory figures it's over, but all of a sudden, timeout.
well, the timeout is one thing, but if he could convince Kuharich to run that play again, he'd really have something going.
Well, I don't think he's got much chance of it.
Now, it is third down. We should point that out. They better make sure they run 5 seconds off the clock, or Saskatchewan's going to get another play. Run hard, Eric. You can count down with us, and that's it. The game is over, as long as he doesn't throw the ball into a white sweater. John Gregory, just beside himself, might have seen first place disappear today. Larry Kuharich makes the mark of the Calgary Stampeders on this Western race, even though his team is not part of it. The Stampeders upset the Green Riders.